morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Miracle Marketing Podcast, where we bring you interviews from business owners, celebrity guests, and hot topics. I am your host, Brandon Adams, along with my co-host, super producer, Big Perion. Big Perion, what's going on out there in the ATL today?
It's a beautiful day, man. I got up early, got a chance to listen to the birds, see all the creation that God created for us today. So it's a beautiful day.
Great. Love to hear that. All right. Well, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, send us an email to amiraclepodcast@gmail.com. We're going to be starting a new segment very soon where we want to hear from some independent artists. Big Perion will be handling that. So you can send us an email to amiraclepodcast@gmail.com. Send us some music so we can listen to and feature it on the show as well. On today's show, we have a special guest. He is in the New York City area. His name is John Anthony Torres, and he has a short film. He is also a musician, composer. So we're going to hear about some big things that he's doing. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. John Anthony Torres. How are you this morning? How's things in the NYC?
Hey, what's up, you guys? Thank you so much. Good morning. Things are very beautiful in the NYC. It's a blue sky. It's like 50s. We're getting close to spring, so no complaints here. Just enjoying the morning.
Great, great. So, John, tell us, how did you get started in acting?
Oh, with acting, yeah. I started actually in high school.
Okay.
And what's funny is I went to the Rudolph Steiner School. Actually, some alum from there are Jennifer Aniston, Adrian Grenier. I actually was in a few plays with Zoe Kravitz. So all the cool kids were basically doing the drama club, right?
Mhm.
And there's 15 to 20 kids basically in every grade. So it's like, you got to find friends fast kind of thing, you know? So I just noticed all the cool kids like Zoe Kravitz and Jane Stiles, who's Julia Stiles' younger sister. They were doing all the drama clubs. So I was like, let me give it a shot. I did my first audition for Grease, the musical, again, a high school production. Zoe Kravitz was Rizzo, not Lizzo. She was Rizzo, and I was Roger in the Grease musical. And that was also the first time that I discovered some other musical talents like singing. So I kept doing musicals from then on, but musicals was kind of my introduction to acting in high school.
Okay. And you also are a musician. You do play the flute and also the piano. So tell us how
Yeah.
long you've been doing that.
Oh man, so musician, that's actually one of my first loves. So I started playing the flute. Well, I started off with the recorder actually in about fifth grade. My school was selected to be part of this program called VH1 Save the Music back in the day. And so they would locate different schools around America who are like kind of underprivileged, and they would give them this intensive music program. So we had a band instructor, we had a orchestra instructor, and we were all required to pick an instrument. I was just thinking like a quick easy A kind of thing. I was like, oh, well, I played some recorder for like a year. Like I got this. Let me give me the flute, I'll take the flute.
Mhm.
And one thing after the next is like I was doing the school showcases. And then after that, I was put into first flute. So that means I'm like the first musician and I can like kind of do the solos and everything. And they were like little small band pieces for sixth graders. However, I just started noticing that I have a knack for this. I guess my teacher noticed even more so to bring my mom into school and said, hey, there's this program called Juilliard Music Advancement Program. I really think you should have John give it a shot. And so between my mom and I, she was like, let's try to do this. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Bet, like, let's do it. I made it through like 2 or 3 rounds of Juilliard auditioning, and I started playing the flute professionally at 12 years old at Juilliard. And that program was called Music Advancement Program. So it's basically like a college division crash course all year long for 2 years straight, every Saturday. So every Saturday, I'd have to get up, go all the way to Lincoln Center at like 7 in the morning and spend my whole day there till 5, 6 p.m. And my mom was by my side the whole time. But yeah, that's how I started as a musician. Because of Juilliard, there's just so much going on: music theory, script analysis, music analysis. I was, picking up other instruments. I taught myself how to play the piano. And I play some things here and there, but flute is definitely my instrument. Musician was kind of like the beginning of my performing career, essentially.
Okay, so from one musician to the other, I'm gonna pass it on to Big Perry on.
You know, I think it's very great. I don't see it in a lot of states how they encourage kids in music. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know a lot of programs um, that still push it in the school systems, and I think New York should be applauded just for that, because I hear a lot of different entertainers and singers and actors and musicians have similar stories about being pushed by an instructor or a teacher, encouraging them to, go further into music, or, helping them advance themselves musically and creatively. Did that, does that help you in the acting too? The structure of music, does that go hand in hand with acting too?
Well, it's interesting you say that because acting is performing. So it does go hand in hand in the sense of having the structure, having the fortitude, having the focus. You need all of that as a musician or as an actor in front of screen or on stage, kind of thing. And yeah, they're definitely parallels. And I found interesting, again, another parallel is one of my first short films I did a few years back. Because of social media, the director that casted me as one of the lead roles, he was scrolling through my social media and saw a little clip of me playing the flute. He reached, and we finished filming, and he reaches out and he's like, "Yo, you play the flute?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" Because now I'm an actor. Obviously that's one of my skill sets, but I'm an actor. So at least for that job. So I was just like, "Yeah, no, I play some flute." He's like, um, "Can you compose like a song for us and we can use it in the credits and you get like a composer credit?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I could definitely do that." So that was the first time that the music came into crossing into this industry I'm currently in at the moment. So I went back, did a little like studio session and recorded the last bit of the flute. It's a really quick small flute piece, and it's in the ending credits of this short film called Meditation. So that short film, I do the ending credits, just a quick little flute piece that I composed. It is called Amber Wind, and it was something I actually composed back in Juilliard that I just remember. I was like, "Oh, let me just throw this stuff together," kind of repurposed it. But it's my piece. I made it when I was like 13 or 14. So that was interesting how that crossover happened. And now, even more so, my current short film, it's called Papi. It's currently making great traction right now at the film festival circuit. We just started showing the world our film about a month and a half ago, and we're already into 4 film festivals, one being at the prestigious Lincoln Center, where music started for me. Like I went to Lincoln Center for Juilliard for these classes every Saturday for 2-3 years. And so going back to Papi, the short film itself, with that, I came in with a lot of arsenal. The way that Papi came about was very interesting as well. However, with music specifically, I have these multiple hats I can wear. So I went to the director, one of the producers, like, "Hey, I can help with music," because at the time we were struggling to find a musical scorer. We were in a time crunch where we were trying to find a musical scorer, and our original music person kind of backed out last minute. And it happens, it's business. I get it, shit happens kind of thing. But we kept things moving, and I'm like, "You know what? I know music theory. I know how to play instruments. I know movies. I'm an actor. I get emotion. Let me do a pre-score for you guys. Just a pre-score to give to the sound designer, just to keep the ball rolling. So I did a whole pre-score for Papi, the short film. And that way I was able to give to our new coming music talent who are kind of like coming last minute, scrambling, like, "Look, this is the pre-score, like help us flesh it out," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. I wear the musical director hat and pre-score for the short film. Not only that, similar to the other project I was on, the producers, her name is Ashley L. Canfield, and she is the one of the co-founders of Blended City Productions, which is attached to my film, as well as Wild Child Productions. That's Wild Child Film, and that's also a production company attached to my film. She was scouring through my social media and saw me playing the piano. I just, I have clips here and there of just like, little things. And she reaches out similar to Gil Brando, that was his name for the last project. She's like, yo, you play an instrument? I'm like, yeah, I do. She's like, I'm gonna write this into a script. And I was like, bet, do it. Like, I got you. And she wrote it into a script. And again, that was how music kind of crossed over in a different light, because I was a flute player, not a piano player. However, I am a musician at heart. Mm-hmm. So on set, she was like, there was a piano piece you played on Instagram. Like, I'd love to have that in the piece. I was like, okay, great. However, it was only like 10 seconds long. So on set with everyone around, camera on me and stuff. And I guess at that moment, she's just like, all right, well, we're gonna need about 4 minutes of this. And I'm like, oh, well, I got 10 seconds, 20 seconds of this that I prepared, like I can bang out like 20 seconds, right? And I don't know, the adrenaline, everyone on me, and it's also my name is on the film. I'm executive producer. I just like put my big boy pants on. I was like, you know what? I got you. So I just started. I elongated like the first stanzas, elongated the last stanzas, elongated the middle, like started just adding a bunch of things. And I made that 20-second to 4 minutes within 2 takes for them to use. And that piano piece, the way it's edited in the film, it is probably my favorite part, because it is the most intense, the most emotional, and the way that it's edited, it's kind of like a dream sequence where he's playing the piano and also having like very traumatic memories.
Wow.
And the song is called Escape.
All right.
What is the I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to ask about the movie Papi. Can you give us a little bit of the
Sure.
description?
So, of course. So Papi is my first short film. And it is a dramatic narrative, and it revolves around this guy named Hector Jr., his relationship with his estranged family, and coming to terms with that, and also coming to terms with his dad dying during the COVID crisis. So all of that is in a 23-minute film of mine at the moment. And I know I kind of just briefly touched on 3 subjects there. However, there's so many universal themes that are ripped apart and acknowledged and addressed in this short film.
That's dope. That's dope. Was any of it real, or is it like a?
Yeah, no, actually not on my part. So the writer and the director, amazing woman. Her name is Ashley L. Canfield. So she created Papi by sending out an anonymous survey to a bunch of people. She collected a bunch of answers from those surveys and made this film. So it's everyone's story, essentially. Everyone who answered that survey, an anonymous survey. And she said like a lot of these stories were heartbreaking, but all of them were true. She melded them all together and made Papi. Again, which is why it's making such great traction, because it is real, essentially. At least everything on my part is I'm wearing my heart on my sleeves, whether it's playing that piano or acting full time. And again, it's a dramatic narrative, so trigger warnings for anyone. You might cry.
Okay. Yes, that is everybody's. It pulls from multiple people's. It brings the community into the film.
Yeah. It's funny because growing up in Spanish Harlem, like I had some of the biggest thugs in my block crying after watching my film.
Wow. That's dope. Brandon?
So I wanted to ask you, have you done any stage plays?
Yes, I've done a few stage plays. I actually was recently nominated for Best Actor in a play under Broadway World's Regional Theater Awards for my part as Eduardo Flores, who's a factory worker. And it was a 2-person stage play that premiered at Premier Stages. Mm-hmm. And so that was the last thing I did. It was 90-minute, both in English and Spanish. And again, salt of the earth, gritty factory worker drama kind of stuff. This dude, Eduardo Flores, kind of like a transplant, Latino transplant, comes in and is essentially taking over this union worker's job. She's a much older lady, and she's, she lives for the union kind of thing. And yeah, he just takes over this job and all the trials and tribulations of her kind of training me during that process. Again, very heartfelt drama. And yeah, in that stage play, whenever I'm acting, I always go for truthful moments. So I'm wearing my heart on my sleeves completely for the audience to feel and understand. Yeah, it garnered me my first Best Actor nomination. So that was pretty dope.
Congrats.
Thank you. I also, right before that, I did A Few Good Men by Aaron Sorkin, and that was out in Pennsylvania. And that was a pretty dope play, dope rendition of A Few Good Men. And yeah, I guess as together as all the leads, we were also nominated as Best Acting Ensemble for that play as well. So yeah, I've been on stage for quite a bit.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, with stage plays and also just doing like, film or TV, you can do retakes. When you're doing a stage play, there's no retakes. Which
Right.
one do you prefer?
Oh, I feel like any actor would always say the stage play. And now that I made that generalization, for me, the stage play, because like you said, you can't fix things. You can't fix things, which
No
is why
retakes on that.
stage and theater is so beautiful. So within that stage run of it was called Scab. The play was called Scab, the two-person drama. That was up for about a month and change. Thursday through Sunday, I think 6 shows a week within Thursday through Sunday because of matinee performances, evening performances. Anytime you stepped in to see that play, because us humans are always having different days, that energy is always different. So whenever you go, the beauty of stage is you're always seeing something great but different. So if you go see the show on Thursday, you're not going to see the same show on Saturday, because the way you feel today, as you two human beings, living, breathing human beings, it's not the same you're going to feel tomorrow or the day after. Like, who knows, No one's robotic or consistent like that. But in terms of money, TV film, that's where it is.
Gotcha. So
Always.
one other thing I have to ask you about, you have some roles coming up, you have some things coming up. I don't know how much you can touch on it. You have a Marvel project that's coming up. So, and then touch on, that if you can, and let us know, because I'm a big Marvel fan, so I want to know about that.
Me too.
Yeah, of course. Well, I can't say too much, but what I can say is if you go and do a little of your own internet sleuthing, you might find a name or something thrown around. But yeah, I'm part of this upcoming Marvel Studios project.
Okay.
And because of the SAG strikes that just happened, it keeps getting pushed back. So in terms of like me knowing when it's going to come out, I have no idea. But it is coming out. It has been approved. It's done. It's in past post-production. I think Marvel's just, finding a good time to release it. But I do have, a role with a great cast member, and being on that set was kind of one of those full circle moments for me, because one of my first jobs in this industry was working for Spike Lee on his set, She's Gotta Have It Too. And I was a stand-in and photo double for one of the main lead actors on Spike Lee's She's Gotta Have It Too. So I was with them that whole season, and that was years ago. And, finally saw myself with this person on the same casting sheet. So I was like, okay, that's pretty dope, Not Spike Lee, unfortunately.
Hey, that's all that matters, is you got a part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
yeah.
names out there.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Let me
Perry.
ask you. I wanted to ask you another question about the short film. Do you have any more that you're working on?
Yes, actually, I start filming or shooting my next short film in June, towards the end of June. It's called Closure, and it's a timely sci-fi drama. Um, all I will say is that the other day I went to the Samsung store to look at some phones, and I picked up a phone and I saw on the side Samsung AI technology. I was like, oh, okay. I checked Instagram earlier today. I went to my Instagram messages and I saw on the top, it says Meta AI technology. I'm like, whoa, okay. I spoke to my friend about 2 weeks ago, who's a business owner, and she told me that for certain clients, she uses this grammar AI software just to, brush things up for more important clients and to get certain pitches or deals successfully done. And I was like, whoa, AI is everywhere. And then I remember, like, again, like 2, 3 months ago, I was at a restaurant and the manager was literally using Chat GPT, which is AI, to write a server's manual. So I'm like, okay, none of this is necessarily negative or bad. However, people are becoming very comfortable with AI, right? So having said all that, my short film is going to pack a powerful punch because it has to do with AI technology, the development of it, and also us humans, how far we're willing to go to have certain last moments with someone,
Yeah.
and AI all into that. And the only reason why it's sci-fi is because this doesn't exist yet, but we'll see. After my short film, we'll see what happens.
Usually it's
Yeah,
always in
AI
the works.
is everywhere. It's taking the it doesn't allow us to be human anymore. You know,
Um,
anything to have a real human feel, because it's gathering information from our interaction with devices
right,
throughout time, but it puts it in a perfect format. It doesn't really allow for it to have that little bit of error that allows it to have that human touch. And
right.
I
And
think
error,
that
error
after,
is beautiful sometimes.
yeah, yeah, it's the flaws in being human, that we love certain things. Certain pictures look better tilted, instead of just being straight up, just
Right,
different things like that. But I think that with AI technology, I think that it's going to get to the point where it dictates and tries to correct our flaws in
right,
life and tell us that we can't do certain things because it has to be this way in
right.
order for it to be right for us, you
Mhm.
know. And I think it's going to turn into a problem, especially if government adopts it as law. That whatever AI says, then we need to stick to that because AI is right.
It's interesting you mentioned that because in the short film, we kind of not touch on the government. Government is kind of affiliated. However, we are touching on, what's a possibility of the pharma companies using certain things, etc. But
Yeah.
yeah, all of that is touched on. And we're currently still allocating funding and producers and stuff. I just had a meeting yesterday with a bioengineer and a scientist, told them my idea. He just signed on as a producer, executive producer, and a consultant. So he's also making sure that all of our terminology is up to par as well.
That's the
And because of Papi's success so far, closure, it's people have their eyes on it now because it is my next film and I plan to give it just as much passion as the first one. And also it's going to be a little bit more universal because of the subject matter.
Mhm.
And because of Papi, again, for instance, we also got this great production company called Koki Productions, founded by Eddie Martinez, who is also an actor and one of the producers on our film. And we have this other, just like more of a team growing to make this as best as it could possibly be.
That's
that's
dope.
dope. That's dope.
So John,
Do you do?
I wanted to ask you I know Poppy is making its way through different film festivals. Where all can people catch Poppy in the
Of
different film
course,
festivals and which cities?
of course. So Papi just started its festival run.
Okay.
um, uh, you can catch it, I guess, right now at the moment because of Austin Liftoff Festival. Thank you, Austin Liftoff in Texas specifically. They chose us to be one of in their program. So right now you can catch Papi online if you go to austinliftoff.com and
Mhm.
go. There's 4 different programs. We are in the new voices segment specifically. So
Okay.
with that, you can pay $12 and you get 4 short films, including mine, which is a 23-minute film. And there you can vote for us, for Papi, so we can make it to its Texas make it to Texas and have that full like festival experience there. But that's one way you can see it. If you happen to be in the New York City area or on the East Coast, Papi makes its New York premiere at Lincoln Center, May 11th, 8 p.m. as part of the Perpetual Connection segment in the prestigious New York African Film Festival, which is amazing, you know? And also, again, another full circle moment for me because I graduated there as a Juilliard kid, you know, and making my way back there to showcase my first professional project, encompassing some of those studies back then as well. But not only that, we just got notified yesterday, actually, that we made it to the People's Film Festival, which is the biggest film festival in Harlem specifically. And Papi will be showcased at the Magic Johnson Theater. And they're one of the few theaters in Manhattan that has Dolby surround sound. So I'm really pumped about that.
Congratulations.
That's dope.
Thank you.
Have you thought about doing an album like Andre 3000? You know, his instrumental album that he put out playing the flute?
No, I've never thought of that, but one of my best friends is Layla Benitez, who is John Jellybean Benitez's daughter, and he basically started off Madonna's career. He's a Grammy Award winning producer, and one of the original DJs. However, his daughter, one of my best friends, you know, she's always asking me to do like certain things, like, can you like record your vocals for this or something? Because I also do singing and I do voice acting as well. So can you record your voice, you know, or this, or maybe one day we can use the flute. And like and yeah, again, like an ex-musician, not ex, still musician, I have all this software as well. So I'm always tweaking and playing with things. I've made 2 or 3 songs. One is called Relax and Shake, but that's more like I don't know, it's more like a EDM kind of like electronic vibe.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm still always dabbling. Like I'm always needing to create, you know? So if it's not like working on this film or banging out an audition that's due within 5 hours, yeah, I'm always finding a way to release and create.
That's dope. That's dope. Do you do any skits like for Instagram or?
No, I don't do any skits, but with my social media, I do obviously post things I've been in projects in, but also instead of skits, I do a lot. Like I'll post like my auditions without any voice or sound, kind of. So people can also just see what I'm doing. I have a lot of new actors also beginning to follow me as well, just so to keep serving as an inspiration and to keep telling people just, you know, keep going, you know, look at what I'm doing. If I can do it, you can, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you should do a story on the Juilliard kid.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that'll be dope. You know,
Oh, and
go
sorry,
ahead.
yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, one more thing I did forget is that I sang a little, just my current partner, Ashley L. Canfield, the one who's like spearheading all of this kind of, we're both spearheading it, but she's the writer director and has the production companies. I just sent her a quick little, you know, she knows about my musicianship, but I sent her a quick little like 10-second a cappella of me singing. And so now she's very interested of me doing a cover of one of the songs that we want to put on our feature film that we're working on, and that's in April 2025. But so I might be singing for that feature film, and I'd be, yeah, going to the studio for that. And as a musician, you know, kind of like getting certain rights are hard. So we're trying to like, you know, create a cover that we can use, an original cover for our feature film. And who knows, I might play an instrument, but I think for that one, we're specifically sticking to singing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's dope. So if you could play any role or be in any hit series, which ones would they be?
Oh man, I know it's not around anymore, but True Blood, I really love True Blood. I loved
So you want to play a
how,
vampire?
or any kind of creature. I've always wanted to play a villain
Okay.
because villains always have the juiciest, meatiest stories. It's like villains weren't always villains. They're actually most of them usually were like great people, and just something really fucked up happened, you know? And when I get cast in things, like for instance, Papi or or I'm on this TV show now called The Perfect Murder, where I play Diego Pilco. It's on the ID network, actually. Anyone can check it out now. It's on TV. I don't want to say too much, but I'm known as like the innocent faced killer kind of thing. I'm always playing these people who are like very troubled, you know? And I really love fleshing out those stories of, you know, traumatic events and stuff like that. But again, I digress back to like, yeah, I would love to be in True Blood. I know it doesn't exist anymore. It's funny because when I first started this, I was like, as soon as I get into the Marvel universe, I'm gonna quit and just like become a doctor or something, or just switch paths. But I was like, oh damn, I can't quit just now yet. But I've always wanted to be in the Marvel universe to some extent, and that kind of happened. And yes, also, yeah, I'm not much of like a comedy, like a comedic actor. I could be funny, but it's that's not where like my chocolate and berries are. But
But here's the thing, a true actor can switch it up and do, because like Robert De Niro's not known for comedy per se, but he's excellent in comedy and, you know, doing serious roles.
right, for sure. It's funny because my coach, her name is Anna Suzuki, and she's a recurring actress on a bunch of stuff. I'm sure you've seen her in something. She's everywhere. But it's funny because I had a commercial audition yesterday, and we had like, you know, a coaching session, and she's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna end up writing kind of like an Office spinoff for us because you're one funny fucking dude. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm like, oh, thank you. And the commercial is supposed to be funny, you know? Yeah, I just had an audition last night for this dog food brand, and the whole thing is comedic improv skills, and I do have fun with comedy, you know. But going back to like the villain thing, I love to like really show the truthfulness within those people who are really struggling.
Okay. And if it's any actor or actress you could work with, who would it be?
Oof, any actor or actress that I could work with.
I'll give you two. I'll give you one male, one female.
Okay, great. I would love to work with Natalie Portman.
Okay.
Been a
She's
huge
great.
fan
She's
of
great.
her acting my whole life.
She's been in it since she was a child from The Professional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Natalie Portman for sure. And in terms of males, I guess I'd love to, I mean, like you mentioned, OG New York. I'd love to act alongside Robert De Niro if I ever get a chance. I don't see in what world that would happen, but who
Never say
knows?
never.
Yeah, exactly. Never say never, because if there's a will, there's a way. And there's testament to that and everything that I'm sure all of us are doing at the moment.
Okay. Well, we're running short of time, so I'm gonna pass it to Perryon. Perryon, you got some last question?
Well, I wanted to first I want to get it out there before it get too late. Can you tell everybody where they can find you at, so that they can follow you and support your movement?
Of course. So first off is Instagram. I'm most active there, and all of my production companies I'm affiliated with, producers, actors, that's all there. So I'm always posting. But that's underscore, or Instagram at underscore John Anthony Torres, all one word, and underscore. So underscore John Anthony Torres underscore. That's my social. I do have a website. It's JAYTEETORRES.com, and that's JTTorres.com. And finally, again, like you can go on AustinLiftoff.com, which is run by Texas, and you can go to the New Voices segment to see our first short film. And if not only that, you can follow us in person, come to New York City, and you can see one of our films in person. But definitely Instagram. That's where I'm always reaching out, so to speak, to the public in a way, whether it's to showcase what I'm doing, to inspire people to continue on, or to look for potential collaboratives.
Sounds good.
That's dope.
Well, John, thank you for being on the show and taking the time out this morning. We'll definitely be, you know, looking and supporting all the different projects that you have coming up.
Thank you.
And, you know, you are very talented. And again, just want to say thank you for being on the show.
Of
Yes,
course.
sir. Yes, sir.
All
And
right.
much success with all of your projects. Much success.
Thank you, thank you. Who knows? Might be back here for my next short film. We'll see.
Not
Yes,
Mike,
sir.
you will be. All right, we'd love to have you back on the show.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for
Thank
having
you.
me, and have a great day.
All right, you too.
You too now.